So good evening. Welcome to the Friday Study Circle. So let's start with 1 minute of silence and just gather ourselves a little bit. So we were thinking we'll start with letters on yoga. But before that, since it's the sharing circle, the study circle, if we have anything that we would like to share today, like Sham and Sardaji, if you have anything, then it will be great if you can unmute and share. And if it's from Incarnate Word, I'll pull it up.
Yeah, Taru, actually, I read it from this Living Within book.
Yeah, you tell me most of the things are available there.
Yeah, disturbances associated with the physical.
Okay, so the first line is this.
The most prominent characteristic. It is not there.
Yeah, of Nash, is this it?
No, not this one. The most prominent characteristic of physical consciousness is inertia and tamas.
I don't think it's there. So you read?
Yeah, I'll read. Yeah. The most prominent characteristic of physical consciousness is inertia and tamas. Yeah, this one again.
No, you can. I don't think I'm. If I find it, I'll tell you. But
Yeah.
I don't see it there, here, right?
Yeah. Therefore, an individual with the predominantly physical consciousness is slow in reaching to stimulation. It needs a violent stimulus to produce an emotional reaction in tamasic individuals. As the mother remarks about such persons, they always need new excitements, dramas, murders, suicides, etc. I think this should be there to get the impression of something. And there is nothing that makes one more wicked and cruel than tamas. For it is this need of excitement which shakes you up a little, make you come out of yourself. Because of the inertia of physical consciousness, what is experienced as a pleasant intensity of a stimulus by the average person is too feeble or dull for the individual whose consciousness is chiefly that of the physical. In order to feel a pleasant stimulation, such a tamasic individual needs a violent stimulus, such that an average person would experience as unpleasant or even painful. Such a condition represents a psychological disturbance because it is a form of what is that? Masochism, a state in which an individual finds pleasurable something that is experienced by most as painful. Thus, some forms of these disorders are related to the physical consciousness, an aspect of inertia with passivity, which manifests as a weakness of the will. Sri Aurobindo speaks of this as follows. I read till this. I found it. This was very interesting. So there is, 2 paragraphs of what Sri Aurobindo has said. Shall I read that? Or we'll reflect on this, then we'll go to that.
Yeah, I think because we don't even have it in front of us, it's better to reflect and then go forward. So if you could first share with, what you resonated with, what was it that stuck you here? Then.
Yeah, actually, when something comes, it really shakes. We are mostly in, a type of inertia. I never felt, we are very static. That is how I felt yesterday. Till yesterday, I was, doing everything, but still my mind was, I felt that I'm very lazy. I was not able to pray. I was not able to sit in meditation. I was not able to even watch my breath. Suddenly when there was a position that, I didn't feel like doing anything. After some time, something happened, somebody said something. So it really shaken me. Oh, where I am and what I am doing here. So after that, when I opened this one came. So it resonated with my, state yesterday. So I felt very, very apt for my situation. So this new excitement, dramas, murders, suicides, etc., to get the impression of something. And there is nothing that makes one more wicked and cruel than tamas. See, doing nothing is also tamas, no? It's not that you think bad or anything. You are just there, that's all. You are not doing anything. You are not doing any progress. You are not even watching your breath. You are not even conscious of what you're eating, what you're doing. You are just, like an animal. I could imagine like that only about myself. So I found this one was very interesting. Nobody will expect any, fight or anything at home. But when it comes, automatically it goes inside and it really shakens up and it makes us think also why this has happened. Which part in me is expecting this? Or where I am not open to the light. So yesterday after that, small argument, so many things started coming up. All this Buddha's jnana came. The enlightenment, we always need this type of small things to, bring us back. That's what I felt yesterday. So I thought I'll read this today. Yeah.
Yes. Thank you, Saradaji. I think the point is not that we need all these things to wake up. I mean, that is so evident.
Yeah.
But the point is, the sad part is that we keep forgetting, right? Like it's as if the whole universe is trying to give me hints and indications and, I don't know, lightning strikes and, whatever, that this is not it, right? This is not it. This is not it. I am startled and I look around and yet again, I just keep going back into my slumber. So, because I don't know, like it's amazing that, death seems something really big, right? And even that doesn't wake up, 1 year, 2 year, 3 year. And again, it's as if that, that was a one-off. And life again is back to where we were, the same conflicts, the same fights, the same smallness that surrounds us, that comes back once we see that, okay, yeah, I've made peace with it. I've made peace with it. So I think, how it's said, it's my favorite thing. I keep saying that how, mother says ego is the helper, ego is the bar, reason is the helper, reason is the bar. So I think when you were sharing, it felt that, peace is the helper and peace can be the bar too. I mean, like you were talking about tamasic thing. I mean, if I keep making peace with things which are not supposed to be made peace with, then that doesn't serve me. That rather, Monica, that cow example that you had shared with me from GTP, that's, I think, very relevant here also, if you want to share that and more. Yeah.
Sham, do you want to share something? You had unmuted. Okay. I think maybe it was Dr. Sumitra Basu or directly words of Mother Shri Aurobindo, where they were saying that peace has upturned, like turned upside down into tamas in the manifestation. And just like light has become darkness, like it has inverted. So peace, it's like tamas is a distorted version of peace, as you are sharing. It's not okay to be peaceful with things where I have to take a stand. And that's where dullness comes in the picture. So the cow example was something like when we are in tamasic state, it's almost like a cow sitting in the middle of a marketplace. Many a times we see these markets, vegetable markets and all, and it's standing in the middle. It's not allowing any vehicle to pass by. It's very peaceful with the chaos and the kachra and the dirt and the everything. It's a nice image.
Example.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. And even it can be seen on Indian roads, these examples, that actually there sits a sand or a cow. It just sits in the middle of even the roads, not only marketplace. And it just is not bothered about any truck, you take care of yourself, how do I care? Something like that. So we are, we have some task to do as a human being. And if we were not a human being, we were a cow, it would totally suit us. For a cow, that personality is suiting the cow. That's why we say the person is like a guy or cow. Because but I think it's a very disappointing statement when we refer it to a human being, because a cow is just dull. So we can say that it's peaceful, but taking reference from the human level, it's actually dullness, it's tamas. And we are supposed to take a stand if something cruel or abusive is happening in front of me. I cannot be a cow and just take in all the abuse and let others abuse others and say that, oh, I am having my peace, and my doing my sadhana. That's not what we are supposed to do. Yeah. But this has happened. You were talking about forgetfulness also. So remembrance has gone, forgetfulness has dawned. So this is the inversion that has happened, where in the story of creation, Mother shares that light turned to darkness, life, immortality turned to mortality or death. So as if everything turned up, bliss turned to suffering. And that's why we have more of suffering than bliss. And our journey as a human being is to evolve so that I transmute the suffering to bliss, because bliss is my highest possibility. I transmute the darkness to light. I transmute the tamas to a peaceful state of being, which is more than just sitting idle and doing nothing, as you were sharing. Yeah.
It's a beautiful example of this cow. Thank you so much for bringing it out. Yeah. So many times we are like that. Yeah.
और होता क्या है कि जब स्टैंड लेने का टाइम आता है ना, तब हम पीछे हो जाते हैं. और जहां पे आवाज नहीं चाहिए, foolish battles. So we are just crazy. We taken a stand for foolish battles, and we step back and feel very coward when the battle is just and I have to take a stand.
Yeah,
that happens.
Very true. Yes.
So as Sri Aurobindo also says, Alokda in his talks, he also refers to it, the Aryan spirit or the warrior or Kshatriya spirit, where you take the stand for the right battle. Whether you have to even bring things into chaos, because whenever a battle happens, things are in chaos for some time. You do discomfort people if you take a stand. You do enter people into discomfort, but it's a very auspicious discomfort. When I'm taking a stand for my freedom, my courage, my stability, my integrity, these all are right battles to be taken a stand for. Yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you, Monica. Thank you so much.
Yeah, and I was just wanting to share that sometimes I feel that, how they say that jakham pe namak lagana, how it's like something is paining and you put more kind of salt on it so that it keeps paining. I think there's also a phase when one needs to do that so that one doesn't, I mean, it sounds weird because that's the opposite of what we always hear, right? So we had this beautiful workshop from, I think, Debu, so Dr. Debu, in which he said that, again, that's based on very Buddhist concept, right? Like remembering that every day when you wake up, say to yourself, like consciously, that this is, today would be the day, today will be the day I could, will or could die, as in something like this. So whenever these things, they bother us, and suddenly something comes and it again makes everything okay and we forget. But I think it's now that if we have seen it enough, it's good not to forget, so that these wake up calls also can rest for some time, and maybe we can, I don't know, progress faster. But it's good to see these movements, and it's nice to be able to retain them, that I've gone there so many times. That's the basis of waking up. Okay, I've been asleep here, and this is where it led me. This is where it led me. But yeah, it takes time. I don't learn easy. And the word, how do you pronounce it? Masochism? What is it? Like, kind of deriving pleasure in pain. This is something we don't see, but I think this is something great to be aware of, that happens, because somehow we just, I don't know, get a lot out of our pain. And yet we keep crying, I'm in pain. Yes, Sardaji.
No, by mistake.
Okay, yeah. So I think it's good to see this, recognize this tendency of mine. The other day, I don't know, Monica was discussing that somebody needs male help. And I went on and on about, how male helps are dangerous. And she said, somebody had a male help from Nepal. And I said, oh my God, more kind of, red lights came into my mind. And I said, no, just be careful. Don't come in between. Don't give your own referral. And after that talk, it suddenly struck me that maybe I know 2 or 3 instances or incidents where probably a male help from maybe Nepal did something. But there are lakhs of such helps coming to India. But my mind just remembers those 2 or 3 incidents. And now as soon as I hear male help and Nepal, it's like dum, dum, dum. So it was so nice to, let it go. And then I had messaged her that just forget whatever I've said. And that I keep seeing, right? Like the mind holds on to the negative. So if one is able to see that tendency and keep it down, I think there's more rest and there's so much unnecessary that goes on. These जैसे हम triggers की बात करते हैं, ये भी trigger हो गया है ना? That word I felt was a trigger for myself, and again an unnecessary battle, right? Time waste for both of us. And when I was saying that, I meant it with a lot of concern, and it's just crazy, but it's good to see and catch. Yes.
And I think we also get influenced by people around us, the fear that penetrates us, and somehow when we are more and more convinced about our path, priorities, values, the path that we are taking, what to give importance to, what not to give importance to, then I think we can actually take it as a noise, like a background chatter, when people talk about such things and try to, in all their good intention, try to warn you. And I'm not talking about you, but I'm saying that even you would have picked it from the surrounding. It's nothing of your own. It's like we pick it up from the news all the time. We pick it up from people around us all the time, and it enters us, and we think that it's the right way, because see, I'm being concerned about myself and others. But we don't see that this really goes against the flow of, for example, faith in people. Knowing that the universe cares for us and we are being led, we are being guided, it goes totally against all that vision. So as we get more and more convinced, I think we can just ignore it as a background noise, like not let it come in. Please go ahead.
So just two things. One was that when I'm not ignoring it and picking it up and repeating it, I'm giving it more power. So if I stop doing that, I become one less drop of poison. And secondly, I forgot. What was it? I actually forget it. So I think anybody, anything, Dia, any thing on what we were discussing or anything else? Okay. So Shyam said he's traveling. Sardaji, you want to read the next two paragraphs that you were saying?
Yeah. So I'll read the same, or I'll read the next ones, what Sri Aurobindo speaks.
Yeah, the next one I think that you
already read. It is the first. It is a first result of coming down into the physical consciousness, of the physical consciousness coming up prominently. The physical consciousness is full of inertia. It wants to move. It wants not to move, but to be moved. It wants not to move, but to be moved by whatever forces, and that is its habit. This inertia has to be cured by putting it into contact with the right forces from above. That is why I asked you to aspire for the higher whiteness, purity, and peace, so that may occupy the physical and the true force work instead of these invading ideas and impulses. The physical consciousness, or at least the more external parts of it are, as I have told you, in their nature inert, obeying whatever force they are habituated to obey, but not acting on their own initiative. When there is a strong influence of the physical inertia, or when one is down in this part of the consciousness, the mind feels like the material nature that action of will is impossible. Weakness of the will may be regarded by some as pertaining to the province of ethics and morality rather than that of psychopathology. This goes on. But I'm not able to understand anything from this.
So, Taru, can you, what was the first one? The earlier one?
Yeah. Is this?
Yeah.
Prominently. Okay. So this is very interesting actually, and not very easy. That's why, Sharda ji. So
Yeah.
so it's like there is consciousness. Now it can, at one moment, it can identify with the mind.
Mm.
It can identify in one moment with the vital emotions,
Mm.
and in the other moment it can identify with the physical consciousness. It's the same consciousness. It's like I am giving attention to this, and now this. So here it is said that this weakness of will is a first result of coming down in the physical consciousness. Just like mother also shares that when she went down in the physical consciousness in order to change the cells and cellular consciousness, she had to go through a tough time. It was really hard to enter the darkness and inertia of the physical consciousness and to awaken divinity and light there. So for us mortal beings, when we enter physical consciousness, as a result, tamas is manifested like dullness, and all of us experience that dullness from time to time. So here it is said that it is at first a result of coming down in the physical consciousness. And why do we say down? It's not in the sense of superior or inferior. Again, sharing my perception about it, that when we talk about evolution, we see that evolution of consciousness, we first start from stone. Then we start with maybe a little outgrowth of a plant. So consciousness becomes a bit suppler, like more sensitive. Then we go to insects, then we go to animals, dinosaurs, then slowly Neanderthal, all these beings, now human being. So all of us have been stones at some point of time. The matter is arising from that stone consciousness. Now there is, again, if you look at stone, you can actually call it how dull, one has to kick to move a stone. It's so heavy and dull. And the same imprints we are having in our physical consciousness, that dullness.
Beautiful. Yes.
Stone like dullness. Yeah. So this has to be transcended. That's what we are here for. But since we have not yet transcended, we face that dullness. And it is an invitation for me to purify my physical consciousness and turn it into divine. That the moment I feel a dullness in the being, I remember, as Taru was sharing, that we forget. So remember the mother. Remember the mother. We have a golden key with us. Mother did all the sadhana by herself, but we have the mother. We can remember the mother. And mother says that you don't have to do the sadhana. I will do the sadhana for you. Okay. So even making it more easier for us. But the foolishest part is that we forget to remember at the right time. So when I'm actually experiencing the dullness, how many chances are there that I remember that, oh, let me offer this dullness to the mother?
Yeah,
it can happen, but it's good if it's happening for you, but it's very rare.
Very, very rare.
Yeah.
After everything finishes, only we come to one conclusion: what I have done is wrong.
Yeah.
I should not have spoken like that. Yes.
So this is what I feel.
For the best, for practicing, the best way is to keeping on remembering. No, we forget so many times, but instead we should try to remember always when we are done. Yeah, that will be the remedy for that, right?
Yeah. Now, knowing that we are forgetful, now taking it as a fact, coming down to the ground level, knowing that I am not yet divine fully, I have all the imperfections and forgetfulness. And knowing that this is the case, now how would I try to remember? Now pasting on the walls, and that's why we have pictures of the mother all around wherever you go. For example, Pondicherry Ashram, the seaside guest house, the retreat, everywhere pictures of mother. Why? Because I forget. So if I'm, for example, if I'm lost in my thoughts and some dullness and heaviness is entering, the moment I'm walking the stairs, the mother. So immediately I remind myself, oh, I can offer. Why don't I offer? Why am I carrying this load? So I think that the way we are, it's good, as you said, that, try to remember from all the different sides possible. In whatever which way. So as a result of coming down into the physical consciousness, or of the physical consciousness coming up prominently. So he's describing it in two ways. So that has come. So mostly he talks that mother says, bring psychic to front, bring psychic to front. So now physical consciousness has come to front. So which is very heavy, dark and dull. Formerly you were much in the mind and vital. This happens, those of us who are intellectuals, most in the emotions and feelings, we are identified with the mind consciousness or the vital consciousness. The physical consciousness is full of inertia. Now this is something which I feel we all have to face one day, those of us who truly want to do sadhana. I cannot escape the dullness of physical consciousness. I cannot always remain in the mind and vital. I will have to come to touch the physical. And there it is dullness, inertia. It wants not to move, but to be moved by whatever forces. And that is its habit. You were talking about it. Taru today was talking about this loudness and excitement that we need in our lives. That's because I am so dull that I need even the louder thing so that I can feel that something is there. Yes, there is life. That's why we see parties happening many a times full of loudness and excitement. Why? Because the more the excitement I need for my nerves, the more it tells me that how dulled I am usually living. That if that needle doesn't pierce through, I don't feel anything. While the needle only touches, I feel immediately. So that's a high state of sensitivity. दाल में कुछ काला है, अभी के अभी पता लग गया, बट हमारी दाल ही काली हो जाती है और खा भी लेते हैं उस दाल को.
Beautiful. Yes.
Yeah. And then she shares what we were discussing previously before we started with this paragraph. This inertia has to be cured by putting it into contact with the right forces from above. So again and again, knowing that I don't have to listen to this stimulus which is coming. I can remember the mother and be wide and supple and expansive in my consciousness. So having always that vigilance, okay, is this suffocating me? Yes, it is. So why do I want to agree or believe in it? So again, doing anything that expands me, maybe taking a nature walk or, staying with the breath, staying as open awareness, whatever works for anyone. So inertia has to be cured by putting it into contact with the right forces from above. And that is why I asked you to aspire for the higher wideness, purity and peace, so that may occupy the physical and true force work instead of these invading ideas and impulses. So last thing which I want to share, sorry, I've just talked too much. I remember when I was dealing with the illness, and many negative thoughts would come. And I did not want to go there, like thoughts would come that I would be dead and what would happen to my kids and, all kinds of that, what stage of the disease it is, I don't know. But I did not want to be there. So immediately I transformed, I started writing whatever I was noticing in my head. I would write the opposite of it. So if I would notice in my head, my bladder is unhealthy, what would I write? I would write, I know my bladder is full of light and clear and healthy. And it's not only writing that I would do, I would actually feel that how would I feel when I'm full of light and the bladder is clear? How would it make me feel? So this is how one of the ways that we can turn whatever negative state of affairs we are in. Just one of the ways where we can use affirmations. Yeah.
Beautiful, Monica. Thanks for sharing. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. So how we get connected to the drama of life. Actually, there would be nothing, but we'll get into the drama so much and we'll not be able to come out unless, until something happens like this, which is, not very comfortable. So after that only we remember, where I was now, all this time and what is happening now. I should come back. So after that, all this coming back is happening. But, we should not forget that stage to come. That is what maybe we have to aspire more. We have to be more vigilant, as you said. Yes, definitely all will help. And thanks a lot for sharing this. Yeah.
One more thing I want to add, that Taru was sharing about remembering death, for example. So if I have been given a glimpse once, to again put the salt on the wound, as you were sharing.
Yeah.
So I remember that this was one of the tool, and even now, that whenever I would get heavy with the burden of thoughts, and I would go to the toilet to pee, the moment I would sit on the pot, sorry for the illustrative
It's
visualization,
a
I would actually tell myself that would I still involve myself in these thoughts if this is the last day of my life? And maybe my bladder, I don't have much chance because this can happen anytime, so would I still live with this heavy state of being? And that really, I cannot say that it helped me every time, but it helped me a lot of times to just let go of whatever was being ruminated upon in the head, knowing that I don't have much time, and I don't want to carry this load in my head. So this constant remembering, like putting salt on the wound, also is a great help, like a great tool.
beautiful, Monica. So most of the times this ego's play is very, very big. So we are becoming very small in front of the ego. That is why that ego is taking the Vishwarupa. So we are so after everything happened, so thinking that, how nice if I behaved this way. Would have behaved that way previously itself. Why should we go to that unpleasant events? But, after everything happening, everything happens only at the end of the day, we'll sit and, think what went wrong, where it went wrong. So after that, that is what I was feeling very bad. See, already we are getting old, and this is not the stage that we should keep on doing the same mistake and feeling sorry for the mistake what I have committed. So I was, just praying yesterday. I should not be like this. I should be more wide. I should be more open. Whoever says anything, it's okay. Why can't I accept that? Yeah, beautiful. Thank you so much.
The last lines, it reminded me, it's like, we attend sessions from Dr. Basu, and they are like a bit beyond. But one thing that he keeps repeating, and which is hard to forget, like he keeps saying that, tune your will, like not tune, but like basically your will to the divine will, right? Like you focus on your third eye chakra, and he keeps repeating that whenever he gets a chance. So I think this is also towards that, right? That because my will can go anywhere, get affected by any forces. But if I keep on a daily basis, praying or aspiring or focusing that the divine will is acting through me, then there is a higher chance that I'll walk on the right path. Monica, there's one thing I wanted to reflect on here. You see this word habit, and that is its habit, although this is said in a different way. But would you not agree that the life that we lead, which is based on just habits and known comforts, that also would fall under the same category, right? Like every time something happens, I react the same way. I'm living the same day again and again. So that is also the physical consciousness kind of being comfortable with and lot of us fear change. So I don't know, this habit word kind of.
Yeah. I think it can equally hold true for the physical, not only for the physical, but the mental and the vital consciousness also. That we are stuck in these grooves, as Sri Aurobindo puts in Savitri. We are stuck in the grooves of repetitive feeling like that, repetitive thinking like that. And just too settled in those grooves. And it takes a push, like suffering gives us a push, for example. A trauma, a tragedy in life gives us a push that now, now I have to maybe do something else. Yeah.
And just about, this last thing about when we were talking about like the loudness and the parties and stuff, I just feel that, when we are alone, like if I'm talking to somebody one-to-one, you see a different side of them, right? Like a side which is human, which feels, which is, I don't know, has experienced joy, has experienced pain, is more real. And yet, if there are 5 such people who come together, they don't relate that way. Somehow it's all about the music and food and loudness and dances. Like I find that very intriguing, that how that happens, or either it's again maybe just a collective, or this is just what we have seen, that how when people get together, it's all about outside and never inside. I mean, of course there are circles and all, thankfully, I mean, that is there too, but just see, I don't know, yeah, just wanted to say that, like again, that that stress on company, that who influences who, or who you are surrounding yourself with. Because mostly, I don't know, I just see it going down, but then 3 people come together, they all are wanting to take each other down in the name of enjoyment. It's just interesting to watch.
Yeah, I think this is very, very true what you just shared. Very true, and I have experienced it in my life. And this is one of the reasons that I stopped after some time. I stopped attending anything which was collective. And my family still would, earlier that time, that why don't you come? Why don't you come? Because I would exactly what you shared, that people were different when I meet them alone. And in that kind of collectiveness, I just felt that it was just not true and shallow and all about food and loudness, excitement. And why am I here? For example, I would wonder, why am I here? And the same very people, the same, it doesn't have to change. When you meet truly in person, face to face, as you shared, that exactly everybody has gone through experiences, pain, their own awards, all the things deeply felt. Everybody has deep experiences, but somehow that collective does, if the collective is kind of a collective where people don't share values and priorities, I think there it does actually get diluted. Yeah.
I think our idea of enjoyment, what is actually, that needs to be, like, I don't know, हिला के check करने वाला, मतलब.
And also, I think coming from a lot of social conditioning, na Bollywood mein enjoyment is like, you're having drinks and party and maybe going to a bar, dancing, and that is enjoyment. That's what I grow up with, and that's what I want to do without questioning when I am adult. That what is fun? Fun is having going to a bar, doing parties, and drinking something, or maybe watching a movie. So that is the idea we have been, I think, totally जैसे कूट कूट के भर दिया है हमारे अंदर unknowingly, and वो हमने कभी question ही नहीं किया. Yeah, please go ahead, Sham. Yeah, if you are speaking, you are muted. Would you like to unmute and speak? Good one. Yeah, Sham, would you like to unmute and speak?
I think Sham has, she said he was traveling, maybe he can't unmute,
Okay.
but he has sent a message on the chat. He has sent that in college, we had the culture of Saturday night parties. We are all increasingly getting intoxicated to Western ways. Yeah, I mean, yeah, practically, that's what, yeah, we see. I don't know, it's just reminded me that, my brother, he loved, like, beer and stuff. But when he would come to stay at my house, he would not want it. And I would specially get it for him, and I will say, "Nee, nee, nee, you have." And he would like, "Main nahi chahta hu." And I would be like, "Nahi, I know this makes you happy, so you have." So, and he would, the last time he came, I think he said that you're really strange, because when I have it, you scold me. And when I'm saying I don't want it, you are forcing it on me. So that made me think. I mean, I did make him have it, but that made me think, kuch to kahi gadbad hai. So it's just an idea of fun is what we see around us, not realizing how empty one is feeling even when one is doing that, because on the face of it, all this glitter and glamour. I remember in one of the talks, Acharya ji said that even a small baby of 9 to 10 months, he will he will grab the light wala toy, the one which is shining and the loudest. So there's something about us, I think, अंदर इतना inertia हो जाती है या इतनी आई डोंट नो है ना, डलनेस है कि अगर बाहर जितनी भी मूवमेंट दिखती है, इट फील्स कि हाँ उसको मैं छूंगा तो शायद मैं वो बन जाऊं, है ना. आई डोंट नो, मतलब या.
And also along with that, that example that you shared, the beer example, we feel it that there at times we feel like very hungry and wanting to eat all that can be available, and maybe the mind is just so restless, wants to whatever one can fetch, one eats. But then there are times when the soul is fed, when we are either talking to maybe a person similar minded, like minded values, or maybe we are reading a book which is fulfilling, maybe taking a walk which is fulfilling. Can happen through any which ways, art, music, whatever, even silence. So I feel that when we feed the soul, when we focus more on that, then I think food becomes so secondary. Like, it's just that I have a body and I have to take care of that, and that's why I'm eating. It's like not I'm deriving pleasure out of food because I'm so living with a sense of lack. And we notice that these Western ways we were talking of, we notice that no matter how many parties I go to, I still remain empty. I still remain with the sense of lack. While when we engage in discussions or things or opportunities which fulfill us in a way which I can practice and it can kind of last, then we don't feel the need. Like, जा तो सकते हैं शॉपिंग, बट जाएं क्यों, नीड ही नहीं फील हो रही. हाँ, पी सकते हैं, बिल्कुल पी सकते हैं, कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है, लेकिन क्यों पिए? अभी इतना अच्छा लग रहा है तो पीने की क्या जरूरत है?
That means, is there any weakness in people that, with just asking for all these outer pleasures?
I think not really a weakness. I feel that we continue to identify with that sense of lack, that I am this person full of this sense of deep void, which all of us have. And since we don't know in our ignorance how to fulfill it, I run towards all the means which the conditioning, the social and media conditioning tells me that this is how you can fulfill it. Have a beautiful girlfriend and fulfill it. Have spray deodorant and then, you can fulfill it. So all these impressions come onto me. And since we all live with that sense of lack, which is coming out of our unconsciousness and not union with the divine, we continue to run towards those, and there is no end to those desires, expectations, and yet we continue to feel empty all the time. Okay. And I think parallelly, if we are conditioned, just like bad conditioning can happen, good conditioning can also happen. That, mother says that when in the middle of the crowd you're feeling empty, it means that now it's time to turn to the divine. Now this can also happen. So that same emptiness can take me to something deeper and higher, or it can take me to the wine, which I know would not satiate me for long.
I think, Monica, the word that you use, while you were saying, if we hear this and we practice, because if we don't practice, then these discussions also become just like entertainment, right? Like the movie entertains me, this also trickles my fancy. But if I go back and if I'm doing the same things, then it's this, like, then you just get a spiritual ego. I have attended this so and so sessions and talks, but the stress on practice, like, unless the life is changing, it's very important.
Very true, very true. It's waste of time and energy, and it also increases our spiritual ego. See how I'm able to attend so many sessions. Beautiful. each and every second, we have to be vigilant. We have to make use of all these.
I would not even, call it Western ways anymore. Because shuru mein hoga, but up to in India also, it's like, I don't know, kahani ghar ghar ki.
Yeah.
And if you are yourself doing it, how will you stop your child from doing it? You can't. No matter how bad you feel about it, you cannot say that, okay, I drink 5 times a day, but you don't, right? Like nobody would listen. And that's how we fall, right? That's how we get trapped in our own trap. And
yeah, just a small example. The day before yesterday, Meera went out with her friends and everybody were, having drinks in the afternoon. So she was very upset while coming back. Amma, what is this? What are they deriving from this? So she couldn't actually, take it. She was saying, it's not right. What do you get? You want to escape from something? Or what is the pleasure you are deriving from that? Then I asked her, are their parents okay with this? Then she said, it was very shocking for me. Even parents sit with a child and drink. Girls, see, we are taught. It was earlier that only boys were drinking. Now it is very, very common that even most of the girls have these drinks and these habits. She said, Amma, everybody will drink, sit and drink in the evening. Even their grandmother, parents, and the girl. Then I didn't open my mouth because I couldn't take this. See, when you yourself are committing this mistake, then you don't have any right to tell the child not to do it. Maybe they don't want it also. That might also be true. We don't know where we are going. And
I think also, for example, Sri Aurobindo smoked cigar.
Mm-hmm.
And he never really did mind it, he was okay with it because his focus was on something higher, and cigar was just like a mere happening. Now, one day somebody came and said that you drink, you smoke cigar, and maybe other people are thinking it is okay to smoke cigar, and maybe they pick up this habit. So what do you think? And he left it the very same day.
Yes, without any problem.
So, yeah, I think this tells us that it's not in the particular thing, it's not in the cigar that the problem lies, it's not in the wine that the problem lies. It's in our attitudes, because he is taking it, he has this sense of abundance, he's full of the divine. Why would he need a smoke to fulfill him? But when we drink, that's why we need to away in the beginning, and also beginning lasts a lifetime, because we operate from the sense of lack. So when I touch a wine, I don't really taste it. I just want to fill myself up with the wine so I can numb myself. And that's where the danger lies. And that's what Buddhist paramitas, ethical conduct. And so they say, even if you are drinking, drink that you don't lose your sanity and consciousness. And they don't talk that, they talk about the middle way, balanced way. So, okay, sexual conduct. Have ethical sexual conduct. They don't abandon it, that you have to become a monk or nun and stay away. So living in this world, can I make that shift happen, that I don't operate from the sense of lack and find something deeper within me, something deeper which we all have access to, which makes me so full that I don't need any consumption to have that fullness. Then I can touch anything on this planet, and I'll still be away from it. But that takes a long time. Yeah. So better not to touch it in the beginning. I don't know. Just.
it is very interesting that we admit that, we drink because I just want the chatter to stop. I just want my mind to rest, never questioning that why do I have to live a life which needs numbing? After the NDE and everything, like there was some pain inside, like just sharing, and people would offer drink and stuff. And I would be like, now I'm so in love with this pain that I'm feeling I mean, I feel it's so auspicious that I don't even want to numb it for 5 minutes. Okay, bus to le lo. But this numbing, like if I have to have drinks and numb my everyday life for that half an hour, which gives me a window of relief, how sad is my life? I don't see that, right? But I just go from one drinking weekend to the other, looking forward to that, not realizing that ये मेरी जिंदगी चल रही है ना, मतलब ये 5 दिन जो बीच के हैं जो कि I am kind of, I feel I need to numb them, and yet it's I who's going back living the same life every week. This escapism, if it's ever questioned, I think it would be really a wake-up call. Okay, what am I doing? And just one more thing, Sarda ji, you spoke about parents drinking with their children and stuff. I just want to share a different viewpoint. Like I had, I think my first drink when I was 7 or 8 with my father. Like we are 4 siblings. My father has a very Vedantic background and stuff, and yet he never wanted any of us to think it's something really big. There is no, I mean, you drink, if you want to drink, you drink. There is nothing to run after. So I think that really worked for us because it wasn't something that we had to hide. It wasn't something that we are like, oh my God, I have to do it and it will give me something. So it's just like, even with smoking, even with drinking, we had it on the dinner table with him and it just felt, okay, अच्छा लग रहा है ले लो. But then फिर वो अच्छा लगा ही नहीं इतना, है ना? It was just like, it wasn't something that was very crazy because you've had it with your parents. It's a regular thing and you can have it anytime you choose to. So again, I mean, there are chances that somebody can go beyond and there are chances that it humbles you further. So I think again, not going why and the what's, because every house, everybody has their own journeys and thought processes.
True. See, that there is nothing wrong or right here.
Yeah.
But see, we should stop something, to take care of our health also, and especially nowadays even medical science is saying girl drinking is not good because it can affect so many things inside. While conceiving, while having a baby, it might affect the baby also. That is what they say. And it is, it is up to them. If they want to continue, they can continue. There is no harm in that. There is nothing right and nothing wrong, as the mother says and Sri Aurobindo says. So it's all, they have to take care of themselves. That's all. If you want to live in that, vanity, you live, no problem. You can come back again. You can again restart. It is up to them. There's no harm in that. But, when we see it from outside, we feel that, there is nothing in this. Don't do this. That's what we feel like saying. But as you said, it is their journey. They will learn or they will not learn. It is up to them.
एक और भी मुझे इसमें एक एंगल नजर आ रहा है that how can we, for example, if I face people who are maybe too much into drinking, and I can see that definitely they're not maybe going the right way according to me, whatever, maybe they are in pain and escaping it. I think instead of going this way that I would take care of myself and maybe they will learn, now that I know that I can take a higher possibility is that, to connect with how much of pain they would have, that they have this need to constantly every week, every day numb themselves and to connect with that pain.
Tonglen.
Do Tonglen. Tonglen you take in the bathroom, you take everywhere. Nobody knows you have Tonglen, but you have Tonglen. So it's like something Mayavi, illusory. Yeah. You have it, you don't have it. So, yeah. And you connect, because I feel that in this way, I actually again and again make distinction. I am something separate. They are something separate. And we don't have to, because we are all one. No matter how evil and vicious they may be, I'm deeply interconnected with them. So can I, instead of categorizing, take it into even a higher possibility, which is making myself one with them, feeling their pain, and wishing for them true enlightenment, so that they don't feel the need to consume or like fill themselves up. So I think in that I personally get a lot of relief that okay, I did my part, I didn't segregate. And Alokda was sharing the other day that, for example, Kali, and I think we lack love when I am segregating them. That is another party, I am a spiritual side, then I'm lacking love. So it is my chance to open my heart. So he says that Kali is, that's why she's called the mother, because she has so much of love even for asuras and rakshasas, that what she says is rakshasas are not ready to come to her, they don't want to surrender. So she says, no problem, I will come to you. So she cuts the head, she drinks their blood, and that drinking blood is actually making the asura one with her. That's the love of mother. Beautiful example, I really loved it, that it's mother's unconditional love, that no matter child is good or bad, it's my child. So he is not coming to me, doesn't matter, I will go and take all the poison in, and then through me he would get transformed, the asura. So this made me realize that we truly lack love, and we can use these opportunities whenever they come to open our locks of the heart, and make those people one with us, rather than saying that they will learn their own way and I have my own way. That's also my possibility, just sharing that.
But for this, coming to this stage, you need to elevate yourself,
and if you do this, it will elevate you. Yeah. So it's like a vicious circle, so yes, where do you start? You can start anywhere. Yeah.
See, you were mentioning about this Tonglen. Okay. Me and Meera were discussing about this. See, gently, if anybody is having some problem, we always tend to, come back. Your palm, they are having some problem. Let us pray God. And for Namke Vaste, we'll just pray. Your palm, they are having some problem. Please, God help them. See this after for doing this Tonglen, you need to really come up. You need to be really gracious. You have to be generous. Then only you can take their sufferings and, give out, blessings to them.
Sardaji, twist it a little bit. Twist it.
Yeah.
I feel that Tonglen is not for those people who are generous. Tonglen is for those of us who are now willing to purify their ill will and to dissolve their separation with other beings. If I am willing, if only I am willing, that I have had a separatist life most of the times, and now I have had it enough, how long would I live as a separate person and other people separate? So if there is this aspiration, as mother says, then if I make this practice happen, even if there is resistance, this practice does the task of purifying me. So don't wait for the purification to happen first and then to do Tonglen. That's never going to come, that point.
Yes.
Because we have so many impurities.
Yes.
Forget about that. So my task is, okay, now I am willing, had suffered enough, can connect with my pain. I know the others are also in pain. Now, what do I want? How best I want to utilize this life. So it's a choice. It's a free will. Nobody can force me to do Tonglen. But only when I practice it and feel the purification happening, it keeps me motivated to do it again and again, because it keeps me light and helps me become one with the others, rather than make them separate and go my own way. So I feel the other way around, that you're sharing that, I have to elevate myself. I feel that it will elevate you.
Okay, beautiful. Yes.
Yeah. So again, experiment and see. Yeah.
So we had to start with letters of yoga, but I think we will not do it this week. So from next week, I think from 7 to 7:30, let's fix up a time for sharings, and 7:30 to 8 or like 8:15. we'll do letters.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, definitely.
Yeah, so
It
I
took
think
a long time, you know.
no, but this is important too, right? Like whatever helps, I mean, if it's letter or words or
Yeah.
poems, whatever helps. Yeah, whatever helps us in becoming lighter. So thank you so much for joining us this week and sharing so much. So thank you, Sarda ji and Shyam, for coming and staying till the end. Have a good weekend.
Thank you,
Thank
Carol.
you. Thank you.
See you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
So, Monica, from this Sunday, we'll have at 7, no? 7 p.m.
Not this Sunday, Sardaji. It's starting from 12th June, 13th June. So,
Yeah. Okay.
yeah, the
okay. This Sunday,
next.
yeah, 3.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Okay. Thank you. Bye.